the lovely ladies of The View. So they're talking about the California fires. It's just a tragedy what's going on out there, and it actually has hit close to home with me. I have an auntie whose home burned down. I have a cousin, her house burned down, and I have another auntie out there. Her house, thank God, did not burn down, but about 80% of her neighborhood is gone. And they're saying that it looks like it's a bomb went off. It looks like a war-torn country. They just can't believe it. So it affects you different, when you have people that loved ones that's going through this horrific event. The fires in California is like a yearly occurrence, if I'm not mistaken. It just seems like this is something that happens every year. This is their natural disaster. But when you start, digging into it a little bit, you see that there's some preventative measures that could have been in place. But because of politics and because you don't want to, I don't know, adhere to a certain politician or follow a certain politician, or if you want to look like, oh, I'm the guy that's going to go ahead and stand up against Trump, and you're looking at maybe running for president in 2028. I don't know what it is, man. This is what I know. No matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, it should be the citizens' best interest that you should have in mind. So if the idea comes from a Republican, fine. If it comes from a Democrat, fine. Who cares? We keep talking about unity, but you have people in power that they love to say it, but they don't want to put it into effect. What is it if we have no action? You just talk about it. You look great. Your vernacular is spectacular. You could talk to a crowd and convince a crowd, but you have no follow through, no action behind those words. I think it's sad, man, what's going on in California. And I've always had empathy. I just want to make that clear. I've always had empathy for people that have gone through just traumatic situations like this. I'm just saying, when it happens to loved ones, you look at it a little different. Like, wow, for real? Like, because when you see stuff like that, sometimes it almost feels surreal. It doesn't. It happens so often. This is not an anomaly to the level that these fires got to. Sure, that's unprecedented, but fires in California, it's a yearly occurrence. It happens. Once again, it's not an anomaly. So the lovely ladies of The View, of course, they have their opinions on this. So let's go ahead and look at their unbiased opinions.
Under fire. The LA Inferno sparks a firestorm of controversy about the response from local and state leaders.
Your governor is gutless and your mayor's gutless. They need to throw them all out.
With this, right now, responders are desperately trying to contain the wildfires ravaging Los Angeles. A lot of officials are scrambling to find answers and fighting back against misinformation. Take a look.
This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water.
That mayor of LA, if that were a Republican mayor, I could only imagine what that would do. I mean, the fires are at high risk, and you try to go to Africa?
Your governor is gutless and your mayor's gutless. They need to throw them all out. But will they do it? I doubt it. They'll figure out some way to blame this on Donald Trump.
There was a serious lack of competent governance in California, and I think it's part of the reason why these fires have gotten so bad.
Actually, here's what Governor Gavin Newsom has had to say about all of this. Watch.
We had my team start talking to local leaders, saying what's going on. Our state,
and you weren't getting straight answers from
I
the
was
local
getting
leaders.
Different answers. We're in this emergency environment and everything else. So I just want to determine the facts, but no one has any patience anymore. In this weaponized, back to the grievance of Trump, everyone else, there's immediacy, and lies travel the proverbial world, and it's hard to get the facts out.
I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt and reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full of the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
You notice, okay, so I'm going to play that clip again, but they went ahead and cut that clip before the guy that was interviewing Gavin Newsom. He actually corrected him, and Governor Gavin, this man is quick. He's quick on his feet, man. He's definitely your quintessential politician. So let's continue with what Whoopi has to say here.
Here's how this works. There was a fire catastrophe in California. Had to do with winds. You know how they're always saying, oh, the wind. It actually does. The winds move things and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have if 900,000 buildings go up at the same time.
900,000 buildings didn't go up at the same time, Whoopi. And what we're trying to find out was there some preventative maintenance that we could have done? Were there things that could have been done better? Okay, to mitigate what just transpired in California. Actually, from what I understand, all the fires have not been put out yet. They're still battling against it. So we want to know: are there things that could be done? Is there a system that could be put in place? Is there an infrastructure problem that we could go ahead and fix that? Do the shrubs and the dead trees, do they need to be cleaned up? Like President Trump had advised him in 2019, Governor Gavin in 2019. Donald Trump and his people, they went abroad and they talked to other world leaders who have had this problem or worse in their countries, and they've pretty much rectified the problem. So what we're saying is, could there have been preventative measures that have been put in place to mitigate what happened? Is what we want to know. We're not saying, okay, well, you know what, fires in California will never happen if you do these things. No, but what happened here, man, this right here is, and what I'm seeing is just like, whoa. It's mind blowing for it to get out of hand. Like this got out of hand. Could it have been controlled better? Could government have done their jobs better? Could the mayor have done her job better? Was the mayor was she supposed to be in Ghana? She should have been here. The governor needs to act as if he knows what's going on. He's trying to deflect and not take any accountability. This is the type of stuff that people call you out for. And we are tired of the lies. Take some accountability. You know, Governor Gavin, we know you have ambition to run for president in 2028. That's done, bro. You're done.
Now, having lived in California, having lost every house save for one that we ever lived in, I take great offense at pointing fingers. You should be pointing fingers about how can we help?
Yeah.
It's too soon to be saying, oh, it's Gavin's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's like us taking seriously that there are, magic lasers in the sky that direct the weather. That doesn't work. It doesn't happen. This is a catastrophe, and this is what's happened. And let's try to figure out how to work towards not having it happen again. But, we don't control Mother Nature. Mother Nature doesn't give a damn what we want. Mother Nature does what she does. And if you're in the way, this is what happens. And California is chock full of people.
Whoopi, if this, let's just be honest. If this was a Republican governor and a Republican mayor, you guys would be all over these people because they're Democratic. You are trying to, I don't know, man. It just seems like this is a damage control that you're doing right now. And once again, you're gaslighting the people, all making it seem as if let's just downplay this, man. This is not what we should be doing. We should not be pointing fingers. The ladies of The View make a living at pointing fingers. When it's against their beliefs, they are pointing the damn fingers. The next episode is pointing the damn fingers. So stop it, man, with the cap. Whoopi, come on, man. You cap it, man. Just be honest. Just be honest. Just say, look, I'm a Democrat. I'm riding with the Democrats. I don't care. You know, and then some of us were Democrats. Now we ride Republican. It is what it is, baby. It is what it is, baby.
So far, 24 lives have been lost. Evacuations continue. So what should these officials be doing to get help or get this under control?
It should be an all hands on deck operation. In fact, Governor Newsom thanked Texas Governor Greg Abbott for sending firefighters in. Canada, Mexico, they sent people in even while we're talking about Donald Trump potentially purchasing all of these places. So I think right now, people understandably are looking to place their rage somewhere. So I don't know if it makes people feel better to point their finger, but just like North Carolina after the storm, you don't start recapping a game until the game's over. There are fires ravaging not only the land, but people the count of bodies keeps going up and up. They haven't even gone and been able to see how this all started. You can't start right now doing this. Everyone should be saying, how can we help? And they should be flooding over there, whether it's money and GoFundMe accounts, whatever you can do to help. But this is not the time to blame it on officials when we are living in a time of a lot of climate change and things that are happening. I just find it a little disturbing that you're going to actually blame a mayor, a governor. If they were standing right in that spot, the fire still would have started.
Well, and I think first and foremost, I know we all think the firefighters and the first responders, they've put themselves in harm's way. Where there's new warnings today that the winds are picking back up. This could continue to spread. Yeah. I think we're all praying for them. My sister was evacuated, then not. I've had friends who have lost everything. I know you've had very close friends. It's devastating. And what I don't like is that there's the jump to go to the politics of it. What does need to happen is at some point, the accountability and the after action of what went wrong and what did we not have that we needed to have. I was frustrated, and I would hope you come on the show. Gavin Newsom's been a friend of the show. I was frustrated that in 2 different interviews, he pointed to, well, the municipal authorities should have known, the local governments should have. But we live in a country where the buck stops with the leader, the governor, the buck stops with the president. And I think that he needs to have those answers. I get that you don't in real time, but there needs to. We need to know why fire hydrants didn't have water.
Well, it's not that they didn't have water. The fire hydrants had the water, just not enough to put out 9,000 burning buildings at the same time. And here in
Whoopi, if you have the correct infrastructure, okay, if you have the reservoir that had water in it, and the fire hydrants that did not have water, okay, stop with that. There's fire hydrants that did not have water. It wouldn't have got to the level of structures that were on fire. That's the point. They would have been able to combat this earlier. But if you ain't got water in Palisades, they didn't have the water. I mean, you're going to see this later on here. You know, stop lying to people, because you guys want to sit up here and say, oh, well, we don't want to politicize this, but you're coming from a point where you're trying to minimize what Gavin Newsom and the Mayor Bass, you're trying to minimize their accountability. They should be held accountable. And what, you're afraid that this may turn California into a red state? Well, if it's for the betterment of the people, then let it be red, baby. Let it be red. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that you guys play politics right now under the guise of not playing politics. Yeah, you playing politics too. You playing politics too, because politics, I mean, if something like this happens, you look towards who? The leaders. Something happens in whatever country, it's typically the leaders that you look to for answers. So stop it, man.
New Jersey, you know, if you, I say this a little bit because I'm trying to make myself giggle, but sometimes, you know, when you turn on the water to wash the dishes and somebody's taking a shower at the same time, and then you're trying to wash the dog outside, there's no water.
Yeah.
That's how you have to think of it. 900,000 things at one time.
That's a bad analogy. Listen, there was no water, period. In the Palisades Reservoir, there was no water, and Governor Gavin is going to be called out for it. So, you over here, you sitting over here still playing games, Whoopi. You guys lost the election, and you guys are still playing games. You want to make Donald. You want to lie on Donald Trump. You want to make him look bad. And if Donald Trump was responsible for this, or Republicans were responsible for this, you guys would be lighting his or her ass on fire right now. So stop the cap.
Looking at one spigot. That's how you have to look at it.
Can I just say one last thing? Is the LA Fire Chief Crowley, who said that they needed more resources and they didn't have them, was kind of contradicted by some folks. But I don't think there's a fire chief in America dealing with this crisis who would say that if it's not true, and that needs to be looked at. If there are not enough resources to fight the fires, then there needs to be more money going toward that.
Well, Whoopi, you're right. I mean, experts have said that it's the local water shortages happened not because there wasn't water, but because the city's infrastructure wasn't designed to respond to a fire as large as the one that happened. So you are absolutely right about that.
It wouldn't have gotten that large if they had the proper tools and they'd had the water. Okay. If you're doing the things that you need to do and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and try to mitigate the devastation of these fires instead of doing nothing, there's things that could have been done. This is the part that you guys just don't want to talk about. There are things that could have been done. And those things were not done. Okay, so now we've had this big fire. Now what? Are you going to say, all right, we're going to go ahead and implement the suggestions that Donald Trump gave us in 2019 that he actually got from other world leaders, because these are the things that they did to mitigate devastation from fires in their country. So are you going to do it now? Or are you going to play politics and, oh no, we need to save the worms. I don't know. Whatever. This to me, and something needs to be done. Enough with the grandstanding. Okay, I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm going to say some great words. I'm going to go ahead and captivate the crowd. Like I'm a dope MC, and then I'm just going to go and do nothing. With actions needs to be put with these words, man. We tired of the words with no action.
In terms of politicizing this fire, that's what I've been most disgusted by. I was thrilled to learn that Mexico was sending aid, the very people that Donald Trump would like to build the wall against. Well, they must have climbed over the wall because now they're here helping put out these fires. Canada, who he wants apparently to be the 51st state, they are here helping us. So our neighbors have come in and helped. And that's what
The PSYOP continues. Okay, so you want to talk about? Yeah, I see you looking at me. I see. Don't look at me like that. Look. I'm just trying to have a discourse here. Relax. Canada and Mexico, they should help because we subsidize those countries to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars a year. I would have never known that unless President Donald Trump had said it, and then we do it, and it's true. We subsidize these countries by the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars a year. So we are there. We they daddy. You should come help your daddy. You should. Daddy need help. You should come help me, man. You don't come help me, man. We cutting you off the allowance. You should look at it that way. Don't sit up here and make it seem like the United States is not helping these countries, man. We support these countries. And in terms of what you're talking about, building the wall, yes, without borders, you have no country. And we are trying to get rid of criminals. We are trying to get rid of the rapists and the murderers and the people that commit crime. That's the focus. Now, if you're over here in this country illegally, Donald Trump and his administration have already said, look, there's going to be there's going to be people who add to community, man. They are shining examples of the American dream. They are law-abiding citizens, with the exception of being here illegally. Those aren't the people that he wants to get rid of. He wants to work with those people, but do it correctly and do it legally and bring them here. We don't want people who are doing great things. Okay. they're adding to the community. They're adding to the country, man. They bring great. They add value. They bring great things to the table. Those aren't the people that Donald Trump or American citizens want gone. No, we want them to stay. Them and all the thick Latinos, we want all of them to stay. We want the criminals gone, the rapists, the people that are murderers, the drug traffickers. Those people we want gone. And for you guys to sit up here and act like that's not the case, it's disingenuous, because you live here. You wouldn't want those people as your neighbors. You wouldn't want a bunch of rapists and drug dealers and people that are murderers, that are illegal aliens living next to you. You guys live in these private communities and gated communities, possibly. You guys are just so out of touch with reality. You know, y'all, I don't even know if any of y'all ever been poor or been from the hood, okay? Look, we could do bad all by ourselves. You don't need to import more bad. Look, y'all keep y'all bad over there. We got enough over here to deal with, man. We ain't got time for them problems. I don't got time for it today. Let's continue with Sunny Holston, man.
Should be happening, and I applaud Mexico and Canada for helping. But who I don't applaud is someone like Jesse Waters on Fox News. This is what he said. He blamed LA fires on diversity. He blamed them on California's
maybe because one burn was burning bright and one was darker.
I don't know.
Is that the kind of diversity?
Because he says it was unbelievable. I thought it was fake news. He said that California's woke politics and DEI are the reasons for the fires, because Newsom has been tearing down dams because Native Americans, but he called them Indians, wanted some of the river back so they could catch salmon. And Gavin didn't just knock down one dam for the Indians. He knocked them all down. He knocked down 4 of the dams. I'm sorry, this is stolen land, first of all, okay? California is stolen land. Second of all.
Okay, we're going to end it with that whole stolen land stuff. Look, lady, if it's stolen land, then leave, because you living on stolen land. You take a look at the world, man. Countries have been conquered. You think the world has always had these boundaries and these lines and these countries? No, man. You've had invasions and countries have been taken over throughout all of time. So when you sit up here and talk about stolen land, okay, fine. You want to give us a history lesson? If it upsets you that much, then leave, because you live on stolen land. Matter of fact, your show is being filmed on stolen land. I mean, the nerve of some people, man, when they sit up here and they talk these things, they just talk reckless. It's a psyop. It is. You want to continue to have a hold on the people that watch you and love your show. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the show, but I'm just saying this right here, this show is all about politics, man. Don't get it twisted. Oh, this right here is politics.
Well, that's part of what always happens. These dams, there's preservation of the dam. So that was just complete, not only misinformation, but it was racist. And I think we need to also call stuff like that out.
Well, look, I think what this has shown us is, for people who thought that Donald Trump has changed, he has not changed, okay? No. He is the same immature, insensitive, inappropriate oaf that he's always been. What he should be doing right now is putting out tweets saying, I thank the heroic first responders. I thank the countries of Canada and Mexico and all the others who've helped. I thank the surrounding states that have sent help. I have talked to Governor Newsom. I have talked to Mayor Bass. I have told them that my administration in 7 days will be ready to supply everything and anything that California needs. Californians, my thoughts are with you. Those are the things you have to say. If you need help in figuring it out, go look at everything that Joe Biden has said for the last 4 years after a natural disaster. I have lived in Florida for 44 years. I have seen so many hurricanes. You know what somebody wants at that time, a citizen? You want to see your federal government, your state government, your city government working seamlessly with each other, like I saw with Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis, and Daniela Levine Cava, the mayor, after the Surfside building collapsed. Yes. When we had that picture of Joe Biden sitting there next to Ron DeSantis saying to him, What do you need? What can I do for you? And so that is what he has to do. He has not changed. He will not change. All of those people.
What did they do for the hurricane victims? These past 2 hurricanes in the Carolinas. Where'd that money go? You mean to tell me the money that was allocated to FEMA, but it was actually used for illegal aliens to put in the hotels and to give them stipends or whatever the case is and pay for them to live here? And there is allegations that they're paid to, they were doing this for votes. I don't know if it's true. There's been a lot of people who have said that. I don't know about that, but why? Why are we allocate the money that's allocated over here for natural disasters? Why is it being put over here with illegal aliens? So when you sit up here and you say stuff like that, you're so disingenuous. There's so much money, way more money that's going to the Ukraine. Why is that money going to the Ukraine? Why are you not talking about that? You want to talk about a president that's so truthful and so noble? Then why is he pardoning his son when he said on multiple occasions that he wouldn't do it? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pardon him. Junior need to learn. He need to learn. He going to learn today. And then next thing you know, man, he's pardoning him, and it goes back 10 years. It goes back to 2014. It just so happens that's the first year that Hunter Biden was doing business in the Ukraine. I mean, for you guys to sit up here and constantly attack Trump, and then you try to downplay the crimes, or what it looks like crimes of the Democratic Party is criminal. That's criminal in itself. If you call it down the middle. Then if you're going to sit up here, you're going to talk, then call it down the middle. Stop it with this psyop, this propaganda, man. Y'all pushing it, man. You are pushing it. And you're gaslighting people. This is crazy.
Thinking he has. I don't know what you're smoking. I'd like some of it, please.
And we should note that he's been invited by Los Angeles officials to come as the incoming president. Some officials have said it would be helpful for you to go. I actually anticipate he probably will in the next week or two after the inauguration, because this is going to cost a lot of money. It's going to require Congress to act. This is a years-long rebuild. And this is where the pointing fingers and saying it's the right, it's the left, it's Donald Trump, that doesn't solve the problem. Congress getting the funds and resources to the people losing everything is what solves it.
Nobody's saying it's Donald Trump. What I'm saying is his response to, I mean, it's obviously not Donald Trump. What I'm saying is his response to it is woefully inappropriate. It's him that's saying it's Gavin Newsom. He can't even bring himself, because he's like a toddler, to call the man his right name.
Listen, at this point.
Okay, so you're more focused on Donald Trump's response to this negligence than the people that are actually negligent. Okay, so you give grace to Gavin Newsom, you give grace to Mayor Bass, right? But yeah, you want to attack Donald Trump because of his opinion on how this is a failed situation. This situation is a failure by the people that's in charge. It's dereliction of duty. So let's go ahead and focus on what Donald Trump said. Why don't you focus on what could have been done to prevent this? Is the things that Donald Trump said in 2019, are they legit? Would they have mitigated the situation that we are currently dealing with now?
People are worrying about insurance.
Yep.
Because insurance companies are saying, oh, by the way, we're canceling you in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's find out how to deal with that. Finding shelter, getting the things you need, soap, water, toothbrushes, toothpaste, baby diapers, clothing. These are the things that this government, our government, has always been championing at. We are always good at helping each other. Yeah. So this is our job. We can't wait for this one or that one to do it. This is on us. We have to get together like we have countless times and see what we can. It's the littlest things that mean something. And let these clowns just keep fooling around in their clown car. Because that's what this is. That's a clown car. This is reality.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Clown car. Whenever it's the opposing side, it's clown car, and whenever your side, which is the Democratic side, when they fail to do their job, it's not a big deal. We need unity, kumbaya, kuna matata. It means no worries. We need all that, right? When your side does not do their job, they have failed. They have failed. They should be fired. If this was The Apprentice, they'd be fired. Let's take a look at this video of President Donald Trump in 2019, and then after that, I want to take a look at a video of what Joe Rogan said.
What would you like to see specifically done on the issue of forest management? And is it possible that it's also forest management and climate change? It's both things
Well,
at the
I think
same time.
something's possible. I think a lot of things are possible. But with regard to the forests, when trees fall down after a short period of time, about 18 months, they become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. And they get up, there's no more water pouring through. And they become very, very, they just explode. They can explode. Also, leaves. When you have years of leaves, dried leaves on the ground, it just sets it up. It's really a fuel for a fire. So they have to do something about it. They also have to do cuts. I mean, people don't like to do cuts, but they have to do cuts in between. So if you do have a fire and it gets away, you'll have a 50-yard cut in between. So it won't be able to catch to the other side. They don't do that. If you go to other countries, you go to Austria, you go to Finland, you go to many different countries, and they don't have fire. I was talking to a head of a major country, and he said, we're a forest nation. We consider ourselves a forest nation. This was in Europe. I said, that's a beautiful term. He said, we have trees that are far more explosive. He meant explosive in terms of fire. But we have trees that are far more explosive than they have in California, and we don't have any problem because we manage our forests. So we have to do that in California, too. So I'll go do this, and we'll see you in a little while. Thank you.
Mr. President, you mentioned about forest management.
So this was in 2019. Had they taken the advice of President Trump then that he got from, like he said, other world leaders, I don't think we would have the devastation that we're dealing with now, still dealing with. So not only this, man, take a look at Joe Rogan had a conversation with a firefighter, and listen to what this firefighter says.
I talked to a fireman once. He goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do. They just got to get out of there.
Nothing they can do. And this is way before the fires that Joe Rogan was talking about this. I forget what the date is, but let's go here. The ladies on The View were talking about the dam. They're talking about the dam that was, I guess Governor Gavin wanted to get rid of some dams in California. So here goes the clip.
So we're here at the Iron Gate Fish Hatchery, right on the edge of the Klamath River, next to one of the dams that will be removed, the largest dam removal project in U.S. history, and one of the most significant, if not the most significant, water restoration project, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin. This project could not have happened without extraordinary partnerships with tribal nations and, of course, our partners in the North and Oregon. We just finished a celebration with the Secretary of the Interior and our tribal council and tribal leaders, and I couldn't be more proud as a Californian, and I couldn't be more proud as a father, because my kids and their great-great-grandkids will have the opportunity to see something that, well, has been here since time immemorial, and it's about damn time we got this done.
About damn time they got this done. Okay. So let's take a look at Congress. I guess they just recently met on Governor Gavin. Let's see what this congressman has to say about Governor Gavin.
Mr. Speaker, as we speak,
the California legislature has gavelled in to a special emergency session of its legislature. And you might say, well, of course they have. LA is burning to the ground right now. But it turns out that's not actually what this special session is about. No. The legislature has gavelled into a special session called by Gavin Newsom to provide millions of dollars in funding for filing lawsuits against the incoming Trump administration. That is what their priority is at this very moment. Mr. Speaker, there could not be a starker illustration of the abject political failure that has gotten our state to this point and that has served to bring about the horrifying scenes that the whole country is seeing on their television sets right now and that folks in Los Angeles are suffering through. So I want to go over a few of the failures that have gotten us to this point. But after we do manage to get the fire under control, there are going to be a lot of questions that need answering. Indeed, we can already identify, even though we don't know the specific cause of each fire, the failures that we know have contributed to these conflagrations, these catastrophic events that have hit our community time and time again. Our politicians have obsessed over things like banning lawnmowers, banning leaf blowers, all the while neglecting our forests and leaving our communities vulnerable. In fact, when it comes to the forests, it is worse than neglect. The state and, frankly, the federal government have put up unnecessary hurdles to doing proper forest management, to clearing vegetation, to doing prescribed burns, which has turned many of our forests and areas adjoining residential areas in many cases as tinderboxes and caused fires that have, in many cases, become truly catastrophic, community-destroying events. And we've seen it happen, sadly, time and time again. The perversity of it all is that these restrictions on being able to manage our forests, which have decimated the timber industry, by the way, are imposed in the name of the environment. But nothing could be worse for the environment than a catastrophic wildfire. Indeed, when you
Thank you for saying it. Nothing could be worse for the environment than a catastrophic fire. We're doing it for the environment, but look at the environment, scorched earth. Damn, common sense. Imagine that if we applied common sense, man, how better of a world we would live in, how better of a country we would have. Holy.
Look at all of the emissions that are saved by every single emissions reduction program that California has. All of that gets wiped out many times over when you have a catastrophic wildfire. So there simply could not be a more backwards policy. And in fact, last year in the fall, a decision was made to halt prescribed burns. Now, we don't yet know if that would have made a difference here, but we do know that the lack of doing prescribed burns in a systematic way, in an efficient way, in a timely way, has contributed to this problem. To make matters worse, Governor Newsom, when he came into office, started claiming that he was doing forest management, but he wasn't telling the truth. An investigation by Capital Public Radio, the local NPR affiliate, found that Newsom had exaggerated the amount of forest management work that had been done, the number of acres treated. He'd exaggerated that number by a staggering 690%. So our political leaders in California have allowed millions of acres to become overgrown and have thereby left our communities in a vulnerable condition. Not only that, their mismanagement of our water supply has, among other things, diminished our capacity to respond to wildfires. First of all, it has been decades since California has built significant new water storage, not since the State Water Project. And secondly, even the water that we do have when it comes down, much of it gets diverted intentionally into the ocean, again, supposedly for environmental reasons. I can tell you that in 2023, when we had record storms in California, I visited the site of the Folsom Dam, and you had water cascading out of the dam, 10,000 cubic feet per second, almost all of it going eventually into the ocean. And at that time, by the way, we had a flood emergency declared, of course, and yet somehow we were also still under a drought emergency. Californians were told you're not allowed to water your lawn. The legislature was passing draconian restrictions on indoor water use to 25, 30 gallons a day. Businesses were banned from having lawns in front of their property. In some parts of the state, you had to have a low flow device for your shower head. And then they would punish you if you used too much water when you took a shower, if you didn't take a 5-minute shower. And all the while, we're sending staggering amounts of water into the ocean. And we're failing to build the storage that would actually catch the water and preserve it for when we need it. As yet another example, relevant to the situation in LA, the California Coastal Commission actually rejected the building of a desalination plant just a couple of years ago. So California, over the course of many years, has in a political way chosen to allow its forests to become overgrown and to impose artificial scarcity on its water supply. At the same time, our state and many of our municipalities, such as Los Angeles, have had completely backwards priorities and have demonstrated a total failure of just basic competence when it comes to government performance and the provision of services. And that
dereliction of duty. I think it's very interesting that a lot of these things that were ignored for whatever reason, or they decided against doing, are key reasons why this fire got out of control. It almost, it almost seems like it was deliberate. I don't know if it was. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that's going to be digging into that. I'm already seeing people digging into it. That maybe there's some things going on here. Maybe there's an agenda. I don't know about that. All I know is the question should be, could there have been some things that were done better? Could they have done things better? Could there have been, different processes put in place? Were there suggestions in the past that if they would have implemented it, it would have mitigated what's happening now? I think so. I think yes. Everything that I'm seeing, yes. I want to go to this. I'm going to go to this next clip here. This is the guy that The View and other left-wing media outlets are trying to protect. This guy right here. This guy, once again, he is the quintessential politician that people hate. When you say politician and you have a disdain for politician, this is the type of politician they're talking about.
California Gavin Newsom made a humiliating blunder when speaking to a reporter from NBC, where he slammed Donald Trump for spreading disinformation after the president-elect criticised Newsom for not ensuring the reservoirs were full to fight the fires. Newsom clapped back, saying all of the reservoirs in Southern California were full, only to be fact-checked by an NBC reporter who told him the Palisades Reservoir was in fact not full, in a humiliating blow to the embattled governor.
I called for him to come out, take a look for himself. We want to do it in the spirit of an open hand, not a closed fist. He's the president-elect. I respect the office. We have a president of the United States that within 36 hours provided a major disaster declaration over a text. We had support from the president of the United States, Joe Biden, with 100% reimbursement, all the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt in reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full. The state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir.
Online commentators slammed the governor's lies, with this person saying he lies, gets called out on the lie, realized he can't get away with the lie, retracts. This person agrees, saying, "It amazes me how Gavin Newsom lies so easily with utter impunity and gets caught in real time." This incident is only the latest in a string of embarrassing stuff-ups from Newsom during the Los Angeles fire crisis. The governor was also caught out in a lie where he claimed he was on the phone to the president, but then said he couldn't get service whilst a woman who lost everything pleaded to speak to the president.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the
Why
call.
is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So
There's
let's
no
get
cell
it.
service.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now.
He was also slammed for backflipping on crime after he warned against looting fire-ravaged homes.
People say no looting, 0 tolerance for looting. That's why these guys are out here. And I'm very grateful for them, particularly for these critical checkpoints that allow law enforcement to move more mobily and do the interior work.
This commentator exposed the hypocrisy, saying Gavin Newsom decriminalised looting under around $1,000. Now he says he's against looting. Typical politician. This commentator agrees, saying classic move, decriminalise it, then act all shocked when it happens. Politicians never fail to play both sides. The constant slip-ups has led many high-profile commentators as well as everyday Americans to call on Newsom's resignation. This commentator slammed Newsom's reaction to the looting, saying, "Illegal immigration is illegal and you proudly welcome illegal aliens to break into our country. No one takes you seriously. Resign."
No one takes you seriously. Resign. I think him eyeing the White House. I think his I don't know. I've heard his name thrown around as one of the people that's eyeing 2028, Gavin Newsom. I think that's done, man. I think his dreams and aspirations to be the president of the United States burned up in them fires, man. So we couldn't put it out. Couldn't put your fire out, brother. You're done. You done, man. You burn up. If California's burn up, Gavin Newsom's career is burn up too. It's my prediction. I think he's done. I think they're going to vote him out, and any aspirations to be president of the United States is burn up, burnt. A guy like this, man, he's the governor, and your decision have real world consequences, man, and your lies do as well. So your career burn up, bro.